Why do basements fail, and why aren't they designed to last? And this is a fascinating question that lasts the test of time. Basements, and all basements, considering from 35, 45, 60, 70 years old, the fundamentals are the same. All structures need to be built for the site conditions. In other words, what are the soil types in this area? The soil types at my home as compared to across the street with the glacial soils in Wisconsin could be completely different. But most of the homes in the neighborhoods that track housing were built like by one developer that did 40 of them. And they had the same contractor, subcontractor, do all the basements on all 40 of them. Well, in a 40-home community, hopefully the soil conditions are the same, but they're not always. Hopefully in the 40, 80, 100 home developments that happened in the 1960s, that there was the same drainage all over. But there wasn't the same drainage. Some places have hills, some places are lower, some places are higher. And so the site design for the soil conditions were not really done properly. And the other thing is that the code back then, because when you're designing a home, to put extra money into designing a basement that's not going to fail as a contractor, or what you could do is you could take that money that is going to cost to excavate and put a proper foundation in there, you could put that money into a nicer kitchen, a nicer cabinets, a nicer bathroom to sell the house. Well, that's what happened, is they did enough to get by on things that could not be seen and let the problem go skate down the puck, skate down the rink. You know, for 20, 30 years later, they full knew well that these things weren't made to last. That's what they were designed. Homes now, if you go out to Waukesha, Brookfield, Dousman, things like that, and you're building a home now, they're building those for site conditions properly. And they're putting the proper walls in, whether it's block or whether it's probably poured foundation. They're designing those things to last a lot longer than they were, although I've seen some bad ones too. The other one is, in these tract houses, 30, 40 years old, whatever your home was built, the craftsmen who were doing that could have backfilled with, garbage. They could have put the wrapping paper in across the tile. They could have stepped on the tile when they were doing it. So the second thing that basements go bad is that the contractors who did that, time is money and they're trying to hurry up. And so they stepped on the drain tile, they convoluted the interior drain tile that doesn't show up for 10, 15 years later. And so that's another cause or reason. And the other one at the top of my mind is just poor construction. The people who are blocking the wall in or setting the tile, they could have new guys or other guys that are doing it that aren't as experienced. And once that basement floor goes in, you're not seeing that interior drain tile anymore. You're not seeing how well those interior bleeders were installed. You're not seeing if there's convoluted exterior drain tile. And those things don't show up for, 10, 20, 30 years later. And so it's a great question why they fail and why they weren't designed right. And it's a complicated question, but most of them were because when people are building your house, they're in a hurry. And they don't really want to put the extra money into putting a long-term foundation repair in there. So, give us a call.
That was really nice. That was a good one. Yeah. That was really nice.